So solving an equation where the variable's in the denominator, your ultimate goal should be to somehow get rid of the denominator so you can get all the m's out of the bottom there. And one good habit to have in mind is that you should always be thinking about an expression and how you might be able to factor it. And if you look at this guy right here, both of those numbers are divisible by 3. So you want to start by factoring that. And when we take a look, we got an m plus 2 here. Now that we factored, we've got an m plus 2 there. So if we're trying to get common denominators with everything so we can add them up and subtract them, this guy is missing a 9. So we're going to multiply that guy by 9. This guy is missing an m plus 2. And this guy is missing, well, we can just multiply this by 3. Okay, so what we have here in green are the things that have changed the fraction. This fraction, you can see, it changed by, I multiplied it in the form of 1. I multiplied it by 9 over 9. So it didn't actually change the fraction, just changed how it looked. And now I'm going to have that, that common denominator with everything. These are all going to be 9 parentheses m plus 2. So likewise, I changed this one by multiplying by 1 in the form of m plus 2 over m plus 2. Okay, so that's in green, and again in green, this is how I change this one. I needed to multiply by 3, that way I can have a 9m plus 2. And so let's do a little simplifying. We can multiply that out, we can use the distributive property. Let's see what we have after that. So now that we have common denominators here, we can just combine. So this is 36 subtracted by all this stuff, so it might be helpful if you write a little parentheses up top, because when you're talking about a fraction, we can always pretend there's parentheses there to guard the operation. 36 subtracted by all of 11m plus 22. So that's really 36 minus the 22. So that simplifies to be a 14. And one note as I'm copying this down, I'm making this a negative 11m because if you're subtracting all this stuff in parentheses, you're subtracting 11m. So I just need to make sure I keep that negative sign. So there we have it. We've multiplied everything out. We've combined everything that we can. Now we have a ratio equals a ratio, or a fraction equals a fraction. And one quick way of solving that a lot of my students have liked is that when you have a fraction equals another fraction, you can do something called cross multiplying. And let's protect this with parentheses. You can multiply straight across the top left and the bottom right. Sorry, that's not straight. That's diagonally across. Multiply top left, bottom right, bottom left, top right. Do the diagonals there. So let's actually color code this. So let's do the blue first. We have negative 11m plus 14. That's all being multiplied to the 9 parentheses m plus 2. So I'll write it all next to each other. And that's all going to equal what happens when we multiply the purple diagonal. Now 9 times 3, I hope everyone's okay with me just saying that's 27 parentheses m plus 2. Okay, and I wrote it out the long way because I think you guys would be able to handle it if you've come this far in your course. To multiply this out and do a little simplifying. But look, we got an m plus 2 here and an m plus 2 here. Why don't we just divide, this is all one term, so I can divide an m plus 2 from it. And what I do to one side, I can keep the equation balanced, so I'm not changing the problem, by dividing it from the other side. And that makes these cancel out and these cancel out. So now we have a lot less to deal with. And if you look for a second, there's something else you can simplify before you even have to multiply these parentheses out. Just take this 9, divide it into that 27, because we can do a balanced operation of dividing both sides, both of our numbers, both of our terms here by 9. That cancels this out. That makes a nice little 3 over here, and then you've got a much smaller equation, which if you're working on this problem, you must be able to solve this equation. You're going to get m equals 1? Yeah, m equals 1.